Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is To Back or Not to Back. We're going to be talking about a variety of crowdfunding campaigns, talking about the games, the stretch goals, the pledge levels, all of that and more. I missed last week. I was at UKGE. Instead, I did a video on the top crowdfunded games in my collection if you want to go ahead and check that out. But if you are here for To Back or Not to Back, I should let you know that I am dividing up this week's To Back or Not to Back into two episodes. We're going to have one today and one on Wednesday. And for funsies, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm dividing it up into the Kickstarter campaigns today and the GameFound campaigns on Wednesday. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of Kickstarter campaigns today, a whole bunch of GameFound campaigns on Wednesday, and I might do this in the future whenever I need to catch up on things, like whenever I come back and I have 2 weeks worth of stuff to do in 1 week, which is always a lot of work. I might just divide it up. I don't know. We'll see. I will play it week by week, ear by ear. I'll play it by ear. You don't play things ear by ear, you just play them by ear. But I'm going to go ahead and figure that out. But for this week, in case you wanted to know, if you're looking for all the interest in Agricola or Dawn of Madness or what was the, I don't know, they had other things. They had a Rascala's Table. If you want all of that, I'll be covering that on Wednesday. For today, I'll be covering Kickstarter campaigns. And with that, we're going to start, as we usually do, with our what's it called? What's the word for it? Our Cult of the Now. Cult of the Now is a segment where I tell you about a currently available game, and that's going to be Santorini Riddle of the Sphinx. This is an expansion, not a full game, but it's an expansion for Santorini. I've been enjoying going through Riddle of the Sphinx, so if you want to go ahead and check this out, this is basically giving you solo or cooperative gameplay to the game that Santorini is from Roxley Games. Been around for a long time now, very popular, very well received, and this is the Riddle of the Sphinx expansion for only $29 from Game Nerds, although again, just an expansion, not a base game over here. You do need Santorini to be able to enjoy this properly, otherwise you just have a very cool book and not enough pieces to properly play the game. But you could borrow your friend's copy of Santorini and play this, probably. I mean, you could do that. Seems like a lot of work for that, but you could do that if you wanted to. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the actual crowdfunding campaigns. We're going to start off with our crowdfunding adjacent, with our board game adjacent, and that's going to be the Legendary Metal Coins Season 8, A Decade Enriching Games. I guess a decade is referring to how long they've been doing this, but Draw Lab has been doing metal coins for a very long time. This is Season 8 over here, and yes, you can get a variety of their previously existing coins if you want to get any of the new stuff, their old stuff. They have all the stuff available for you. 326 backers, $26,000 raised, 16 days left to go. They're giving you metal coins. That's what it is. Every set gives you basically 20 coins, I believe, 10 copper, 6 silver, and 4 gold within each set, and they have a ton of sets. You can get one set for €25, although not really €25. Shipping's going to get you on that. We'll come back to that soon. But one set for €25. You can get multiple sets, well, custom coin set for €29, and then you go up to any number of sets. I'm going to scroll all the way to the end over here for 20 sets for €380, giving you a price point of €14. That math does not check out. 380, why can't I do math? That's going to be 100, I can't do math. €400 would be €20, so it's €18. Does that make sense? €19. It's €19 per set, I guess. €19, is that the price point? But the original set, one set was €25, I guess. Yeah, okay, there we go. €25 for one set, €19 for €19 per set if you're getting as many as 20, and they have all kinds of ranges in between. They have a lot of different sets out there. In fact, they actually have a set over here, Premium Full Collectors. To be clear, this is giving you all the various different coins that you can possibly get your hands on. But then we have a whole bunch of different options: Forged Barbarian and Forged Units and Adventure Weapon Stealth, all these various things over here. I've had some of their coins. They are very high quality. They're obviously not the cheapest, and that's before we get to shipping, because shipping is going to run you €19 for one set if you are in the US, and €35 for 11 to 20. So that means your €25 set is really €44, which is a lot of money for a single set of coins, which means you're probably only really interested in this if you are getting a bunch, because again, that shipping just makes it very non-viable otherwise. That's basically Legendary Metal Coins from Draw Lab, giving you opportunities to get any of their previous sets, because they have a whole lot of sets after doing this for 8 seasons now. Then we have Rise of the Oak Dell, a Civilization roll and write game. This is a print and play game that you can just buy a print and play of it. You're not buying an actual game, you're buying the print and play. They have previously done 2 other games, the Villagers of the Oak Dell and the Something Else of the Oak Dell. This is a set of games. I believe this is the final game in that set, but it's a Civilization roll and write game coming to you from 2 Acorns Games. They have Rise. Where are the other games? They had other games. I don't know. We're going to focus on the current game right now. Rise of the Oak Dell, you're basically going to be rolling a dice, and that die you're going to be counting around the edge of of your board, because you're going to be taking 11 turns, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 13 turns, some number of turns in the game, and you're going to be using that dice, which is going to give you a segment of how you draw, as well as the disaster that is affecting your things. So for example, the example they show here, if you roll a 3, you move your die to there, you take that particular threat of the current era, and then you draw your shape on the board, gathering various resources, and you use these resources to go ahead and develop your technology and build the monumental wonders. Repeat for 13 rounds, so 13 rounds, not 11, and that's basically the game. Grow your civilization, roll dice, move around, collect resources, and figure out how to power up more efficiently through that process. That's basically the game. You have €4 for the base game over here, just giving you 1 map and 1 leader, and €12 for the 4 unique maps with 4 powerful leaders. So if you wanted more variety, more mix and match, all that for €12 there. And then we have the whole trilogy, which is Rise of the Oak Dell and Dungeons. That's what it was. Dungeons of the Oak Dell. If you want the whole trilogy of all their all-ins for all their games, that's going to run you €28. Again, this is a print and play game, so shipping is nothing. It's one of those games that, as I usually say, if you like print and play games, if you print them out and you play them, then they're often worth it, and if not, not so much. Then we have Stargazers and Observatory, 2 Cosmos-based board games from 20th Century Games. Stargazers is, well, let's go through them. There's 395 backers, $26,000 raised, 4 days to go. These are 2 games from 20th Century Games. Stargazers coming in a retail and deluxe version, and Observatory only coming in a regular retail version of the game. That brings you to the pledge levels. You have Observatory for $20, Stargazers regular for $35, Stargazers Duo Combo regular for $50, Stargazers Deluxe for $80, that's going to be up from $35. You're paying for very cool acrylic pieces, so question if you care about that or not. And then we have the Cosmic Duo Deluxe for $90. So those are the various options for these sets over here. The 2 games over here, let's go through them one at a time in the order that they have them. Stargazers is going to be a drafting game where you're drafting various tiles and the things that go into the tiles, trying to create patterns. So you're trying to dual draft things, being mindful of how they're going to fill out your board and the patterns you're constructing as you go through it. That's the kind of general idea. There are longer rules videos if you want to dive into any of the games we covered today. I'm generally just going to try to give you a general brief overview of the game. The main thing you're getting in the deluxe edition of the game, let's go through the deluxe. Where is it? Is it over here? It's somewhere. Stargazers component. There we go. Deluxe components are going to give you acrylic tiles. You're getting these thick acrylic tiles for all the pieces instead of the more cardboard wooden tiles that are, well, standard cardboard, not as cool looking. They give you a parallax feel when you have the tile and the piece together, so it's giving you more of a premium feel. But the question is, that's a big chunk of extra change to go ahead and get that premium feel, so you have to decide if you care about that or not. As far as Observatory over here, the how to play on that is basically you're going to be rolling dice and then drawing star patterns on your sheet as you do so. So you're trying to basically, it's sort of more of a roll and write kind of observatory thing where you're going to be rolling dice, plot your moves, score the points, and then refresh the cards, repeating the process until you're done as you draw out these various observatories. Shipping for the games are going to run you, well, they go with a fixed cost, a $10 shipping cost, well, if you're in the US or China, $10 shipping cost no matter how many games you get, and that's going to be Observatory and Stargazers from 20th Century Games. We have Inish Big Box from Matago. 6,400 backers, 8 days to go, $656,000 raised. Inish Big Box, which is basically a redone version of Inish with updated tokens, graphic design, all of those things, and giving you all the expansions in a singular big box, and not even like a crazy sized big box. It's like some of these big boxes have that bloat where you might not want them. This is very reasonably sized as far as big boxes go, and also very reasonably priced as far as big boxes go. And then also they have a just the expansion version over here, the Nemedian Settler Nemed Legacy Edition with art and components that will match your base game of Inish. So if you do have the base game of Inish, there are updated changes to the components and art, and this will match your updated set. So your old set. This will match your old set if you get the Nemedian Settler for €28. Or you can get the all-in, the Druid of Nemed over here for €65, giving you the full big box experience with everything. I've done an unboxing and a review on my channel, so I won't heavily go into it, but I will say Inish is one of my favorite area control games. The components over here, well, no, let's talk about the campaign. The campaign is a big box edition of the game that gives you everything together in one box, and also updates some of the graphic design and components. I cover this fully in my big box. I like some of the changes. I don't like some others. Overall, I'm happy. There's definitely a degree of shine to the art. The art pops nice off the page. I like some of the changes they've made. Overall, to me, the original versus the new is kind of, I could go either way because there's things I like about both of them. As far as the mechanics of the game, because it's also a new expansion, the new expansion is primarily divided up in 2 modules. One of them I will always play with because it gives you this kind of like sort of gods that go into certain areas as you build sanctuaries. It's a nice little change to the game. It's easy to incorporate, and it just adds extra variety and fun to the experience. I really like that. And then there's another expansion, the Nemetons or whatever it is. which are basically these tokens, these tiles, mini tiles that go into the gaps of your tiles. I like the concept of the expansion. I did have issues with the fact that it didn't always come into play, and it felt like very often you were trying to make it happen, even though it didn't feel tactically sound that you should be trying, but you just want to engage with the expansion. That was my own 2 cents of the expansion. That said, the reason I'm going into those more detailed notes is I do know, especially if you watch some of that content, they put out updates. They put out updates about how they are basically giving you alternative setups because of that aspect, and this is something that they cover in the rulebook they set themselves. They cover that it may not always come into play, and so between my feedback and I guess the general experience they've had, they are actually giving you variable player setups for those who do want to see that. So it's one of those no harm, no fouls. You can incorporate these if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I think I would be more inclined to do so because it's just more ways to have this come out without feeling like you have to try hard to make it happen. So just if you did watch my videos, they are responding to feedback on that overall. Outside of that, we kind of already covered what you need to know as far as the price points of the expansion, as far as the price point of the big box, and again, that's a big box with 2 expansions. That's Seasons of Inish and the Nemid expansion all together for €65, which feels like a crazy price for crowdfunding nowadays, and in general, the campaign is doing very well. Like, this is one of the better performing Matago campaigns. I guess there's also the Kemet one on GameFound, so I guess they've had a few things. They've done some of their older properties, some newer stuff as well. Kemet definitely seems to be one of the most popular games. Inish overall is doing very well. Cyclades unfortunately went to somebody else at this point, and they've also brought new titles to market as well. But either way, shipping on this one is going to run you, depending on what you're getting, €20 for the full big box, or €18 if you just want the Nemedian Settler for a US-based shipping. Sorry. And with that, we're going to go to the next campaign. Flashpoint Golden State Heroes, 1,000 backers, $86,000 raised, 11 days to go. Golden State Heroes is a new standalone version of Flashpoint that does, of course, give you stuff that you can compatibilize, that's not a word. You could incorporate and mix up with the other Flashpoint content out there. Flashpoint is a cooperative game of rolling dice, watching the fire burn down the various locations that you're in, and trying to save various people from those locations by be mindful of your action economy, and just trying to keep the smoke at bay. Lots of variability to the experience from the maps, the characters, any number of different things going on, and this Golden State Heroes adds new things that were in the legacy game, and they kind of take it into a non-legacy experience, giving you basically mixing up the heroes. So the various characters you're going to play as are going to come with 2 new things. You're going to have customizable heroes that have gear and boosts. So their gear and boosts are going to be new things you can add to the heroes, giving them variability to those heroes, and you're also going to have immersive danger, which is, I believe, the ignition system, basically a set of event cards for each map. So every single map in the game is going to have its own set of event cards, giving you other things to manage, and I believe they're going to give you, well, there are opportunities to get event cards for other expansion maps out there in the Flashpoint universe. So that's going to be the Golden State Heroes expansion, giving you a new standalone version of Flashpoint. The pledge level for the game is going to run you $59 for the base game. You're going to have the Where We Came From, which is $89, an additional $30 to get the base game on top of it, so you're getting the original Flashpoint on top of Golden State Heroes. It is worth noting at this point, by the way, very often you can get the additional Flashpoint base game for less than $30. Even if you're buying it new, you can get it for less than $30, so like that only makes sense if you're just trying to go for ease of quality of life, or possibly if you live internationally in a way that makes it more affordable or cheaper for you. But if you just want Flashpoint, even if you want the Golden State Heroes, it almost makes sense to just get, the base game separately now, play that, enjoy that, and Golden State Heroes when it comes. You can also get the Legacy Edition of Flashpoint, Flashpoint Legacy for $124, and that's for Golden State Heroes and Legacy. And you can get the Golden Beginnings for $154 for giving you all 3 of the full trio over there. And then it goes even further to the Student of History, and then the Everything Flashpoint, depending on all the various things you can want. As far as shipping was somewhere on the page. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find my little cursor over there. Scrolling all down through the various pledge things that are being unlocked. Here we go. Here's the shipping. $20 for the over here, and Where We Came From is $25. Again, that goes back to the fact that it's $35 effectively to get that expansion, and you can get the base game right now, like on GameNess, for example, for $28, and that's free shipping if it's part of a $100 order. So it obviously does depend on your situation, but in some cases it just doesn't make sense to get the base game over here. And then going all the way up to $50 to get your hands on all of that. And of course, some of these also have tariffs built in as well, so that's going to factor even further into that base game, as well as your general pledge. And that that is Flashpoint Golden State Heroes. Then we have Phantom Division, 447 backers, $44,000 raised, 16 days to go. Phantom Division is a fully cooperative tactical combat game that supports solo playing and features several minigames. That's just reading from this over here, but that's what it is. The video is fun if you want to watch that, giving you a general sense of the vibes, the feel, and all that. But you're going to be generating these maps that are different every single time. You're going to be flicking, you're going to be like shooting like little ammo at various things and playing through a variety of minigames as you go through these kind of for semi-immersive combat experiences. This is coming to you from Phantom Horizon. They have two created over here. They have the Phantom Division Core Pledge for $89, the All-In for $109, and that, let me see if I can find the reward levels and show you the difference over there. The All-In gives you those two expansions on top of the base game. But this basically kind of, again, you're building up your little room over here. Let's see if I can find the gameplay over here. The gameplay, modular mission setup. There was a specific thing I want to show you that had, was it this over here? Yeah, this over here. The Periphery mission. Every mission starts with a setup card that determines the layout. So you're kind of generating these different setups every single time you play. And then you have the whole tactical deployment. You're going to be shooting various things over here. Neutralize the enemy, roll dice. So it's generally a semi dungeon crawler, but with like little mini games and dexterity elements thrown in on top of it. Shipping for the game is going to run you, if you're in the US, for $25, and that's basically Phantom Division over here from Phantom Horizon. They're the people who brought you SEAL Team Flicks, by the way, in case you remember that one. Then we have Catacombs Alpha, 269 backers, $18,000 raised, 17 days to go. Catacombs Alpha is a new starter set for Catacombs, Catacombs being the dungeon crawler flicking game, in which you are going to be flicking your way through a dungeon crawler experience, facing off against a big bad as you go through this. And this is basically just a new standalone version, although also compatible with previous other content in the set. There's a lot of Catacombs content out there. I believe this is based on the 3rd edition version, because I think there's multiple editions, multiple games. There's a whole lot of Catacombs. This is based on the 3rd edition's model and compatible with the 3rd edition's Catacombs 3E. We have the $49 for the Catacombs Alpha expansion pledge. To be clear, this is giving you all the Catacombs Alpha, but not all the content you can reuse from your existing Catacombs. So things like the walls and stuff that you already have in your existing Catacombs. But if you are coming into this as a new backer who doesn't have anything Catacombs, you don't want to back the Catacombs Alpha pledge because you'll be missing out on something. So this is kind of like, hey, you have Catacombs, you don't need everything again, here's the Alpha expansion pledge. Alternatively, you can get the Out of Catacombs Alpha core pledge for an additional $10 more, $59. You get the full core pledge giving you everything you need. This is where you want to be if you are a new backer to the Catacombs system. Then we have the Catacombs Alpha All-In, which is giving you the double-sided playmat, exclusive Alpha monsters, exclusive resurrection packs 1 and 2, and basically those extra content to the game. Shipping over here is going to run you $20 to the USA, and that is basically Catacombs. It's a new standalone version of Catacombs. Again, it's a dexterity-based dungeon crawler with a flicking element is the main component to it, but that's Catacombs. We have Tomb Raider, the Crypt of Chronos, 1,700 backers, $219,000 raised, 17 days to go. Honestly, between the IP and the price point, which isn't that bad, I kind of expected this one would be doing a little better, but it's still doing decently well, don't get me wrong. $220,000 is nothing to sneeze at. But this is Tomb Raider, the Crypt of Chronos, a solo game. Oh, that's right, it's solo only. So $220,000 for a solo only game is actually not bad at all, because sure, you could play this as 1+ player with multiple people making decisions, but you can play any solo game as 1+ player. So it's a solo game. It's a solo game where you could possibly decide that you want to hang out with a friend and then just, make decisions together. But anyways, the basic idea of the game is you're playing as Lara Croft. You're going through the dungeons, going on these missions in these either a sort of campaign aspect or semi-sequential aspect to it, or alternatively going through a single shot aspect of it. So you kind of play it both a single shot and as more of a campaign. And you're going to be powering up, leveling up, facing off against enemies, dealing with traps, solving puzzles, all of that as you try to power up and get more gear while going through this general experience, this solo play. 20 minutes to 180 minutes, that is a big range. 2 game modes, we talked about that already. That's basically Catacombs, the Crypt of Chronos. The base game for $61 over here is giving you the full entry with miniatures and everything. Like, this isn't the standee pledge. This gives you all the miniatures you need from the base set for $61. The all-in over here gives you all the various extra things over here. In fact, let's show you down here as we scroll through it, because I think that'll give you a better sense of what you're getting. We have what's in the box. You have Lara, mercenaries, wildlife protectors. This is all the base set. So you're getting all this for $61. And then we have over here, we have the additional content, which is the Crypt of Chronos, 45, 60, there we go. The Tomb Raider, core game, dinosaur, legendary, deluxe tomb dice, chaos playmat, and ultimate Croft box. So all of that stuff on top of it, and individually, the dinosaur enemies over here, the legendary bosses, the deluxe tomb dice, the chaos playmat, and the ultimate Croft box, which stores everything all together in one box. That's all of what you're getting over there for $156, which isn't cheap by any means, campaigns, but feels reasonably priced relative to the content you're getting, especially with an IP thrown on top of it. Then there's additional stretch goals as well that they're going to be, slowly unlocking. Some already unlocked, and various others still slowly unlocking. But that is basically Catacombs, the Crypt of Chronos. Which brings us to shipping. Shipping's going to be £15 to the US, or alternatively £20 if you're going all in on that. If you're going for the all in, and that is Tomb Raider, the Crypt of Chronos. From there we have Baron von ZOM'S Dice of the Undead, a fun little quick dice placement game of rolling dice, Yahtzee style, placing dice, and then trying to basically fill your board before other players. 366 backers, $21,000 raised, 17 days to go. This is the second edition of the game. They've been on crowdfunding once before. This is the second campaign. They're back for Baron ZOM'S Dice of the Dead second edition. The pledge levels over here are €49 for the base game over here, and then €10 for the extra card pack for people who are for prior owners of the first edition of the game. If you want to get more cards, giving you more rules and other variable content to the game experience. Because the basic idea is every single round you're going to be drawing a rule card that might mix things up to a certain degree. That's where the variability is going to come in. Then you're going to be selecting dice, rolling those dice, trying to place them onto your grid by placing pairs, and then hopefully placing that odd die, trying to fill your grid while balancing these rules in play, as well as if you roll 3 of a kind or straights, you can add additional rule cards, optionally or mandatory depending, as you try to just throw chaos into the mix. So it's basically Yahtzee-style dice placement with a degree of chaos, rules modifications, and all that to keep it interesting and mix it up. Shipping over here is going to run you over here for the US. You're looking at €27 or up to, well, can't ignore the other ones. That's for the triple packs and stuff. €27 for the base game, which again does not make it a cheap game over here. So like €49 plus €27 for what looks like a light Yahtzee-style dice thingy. It definitely makes it a little less affordable if you are looking at the US. And honestly, €49 is a little less affordable no matter where you're looking, which is probably why it's doing like well, but not particularly well. But that's Baron von ZOM'S Dice of the Undead. We have a few more campaigns over here. We have Darkleaf Gambit over here. Darkleaf Gambit, $37,000 raised, 414 backers, 18 days to go. Darkleaf Gambit is a game built on the chess system, meaning literally you need a copy of chess to play this game. Darkleaf Gambit is built using a chess set, a chess pieces, and then its own little poker chips and asymmetric clans, which players are going to be using a chess set, but not actually playing chess. So this is not like Nightmare Chess, where it's like a variant of chess. This happens to use the chess components, but it's not chess in any other sense of the word. So like your knight is not moving in, the way a knight moves in chess, but it is called a knight, so it's slightly confusing in that sense, but once you start playing it, it makes a lot of sense. It's pretty straightforward. It uses chess as a component, so it's kind of like using a deck of cards to play any number of different games. You're using a chess set to play Darkleaf Gambit. $59 will get you the standard edition of the game. $79 will get you the deluxe edition of the game, which gives you these 36 handcrafted smoky dice. So if you want cooler dice for your copy of the game, that $79 pledge is what you're going to be looking at. And the basic idea is you have these 6 factions, 6 asymmetric factions, giving you, like, I think it was 15 different mix-ups are the way you can do the math over there. But you choose a faction, or both players choose a faction, and then you look at how your faction wins, how your faction operates, how they move, what abilities they have, and you go head-to-head utilizing the chess pieces as the main thing you're going to be running on, while trying to utilize your clan's abilities and factions to take out your opponent before they take you out, while again balancing their faction and your faction and the variable asymmetry that will develop from those factions in play. That's the basics. You can get a how to play from Becca Scott. You can see each of these 6 factions in the mix somewhere. There was a video playthrough. Here we go. You can see the Brothers Murph, Foster the Meeple, and on Board Game Co. You have all these 6 factions being shown in different ways. If you want to see how any of them play, get a sense or feel for them, you can check that out. And the shipping is going to run you $18 to the continental US on top of the $59 or $79 pledge point for the game. That is going to be Darkleaf Gambit from actually, what's the name of the game? What's the name of the company? Only Then Studios. Then over there we have Space Off, a Mario Party style minigames in real life. We have, I think, 3 more campaigns? No, this is the third to last campaign, so we got 2 more after this. 626 backers, $40,000 raised, 24 days to go. Space Off is craziness. It's a crazy party game. Honestly, if you ever played Quelf back in the day, Quelf is a fun party game. Like, I played that before I got into, like, designer board games. I really liked it. It's a fun game. It's a crazy, zany kind of just fun experience, and Space Off looks like it's leaning in that general genre. So a combination of just chaos is going to reign as you play in this team-based game in which you're facing off against the other team and then trying to use your reflexes, willpower, sneakiness, smarts, all these different things, giving you different rules that are going to mix up the game experience, and rules that last more than just the individuals in the round that it's being played in. So you have these overlapping rules that start to stack up as you go through it, just making it a crazy experience of a party game. So if you're here for, like, I don't know, proper, polite party party games, is that even a genre? If you're here for proper and polite games in general, this is not your jam, but if you are here for craziness and zaniness and mayhem, this is definitely that kind of thing. Like, you have Draw Curse, Follow Strange Restrictions, Attempt a Trial in one of 3 skill categories, so like that's dexterity, or things that will impact your ability to play, or go head-to-head in a showdown. There's different things going on. I definitely recommend checking out the video if you are interested in this general field, because I think that'll give you a better feel for how the game plays, because you could see some of the dexterity elements at play, or some of the inhibitions that will be thrown onto the table as far as limiting how you can engage. Like, I don't know what's actually fully in the game, but like, you know, Quelf always had things like, you know, you have to, I don't know, talk without saying any words that start with S, or use your left hand, and those things could stay in play, impacting the game state, and that has a longevity to the effect of what's going on, making it complete chaos as you play. Looks fun. It reminds me of Quelf. That's the basic idea of it. Planeteer is going to be $39 for the base game. The $69 tier over here, an additional $30, gives you those 3 expansion packs. I do think it's cute how they have the expansion packs fit together like a little spaceship. It does feel like they intentionally tried to make that happen, because like the way they have it set up and component divided up. But either way, they get points for the cuteness anyway. And then we have the Universe tier for $94, and honestly, I don't think that's necessarily worth it. Like, even if you're an all-in type person, that's basically giving you some extra. We have the die-cut box sleeve, the acrylic leather lander standees, 15 blank trial cards. Like, does anyone actually make their own trials? Whenever a game offers me like blank cards to make your own as a stretch goal, I assume there's a target audience somewhere that uses that. I am not that target audience. I want you to make the cards, and I will play with the cards. If you're giving me blank cards to make my own rules, I guess if you're ever going to do it, this is the kind of game to do it with, but like, I don't know. I just never use like, hey, blank components so you can add more cards to your game. Like, I don't like, maybe it's the OCD in me. I'm never going to use something that I wrote on when it's not going to look like the premium art and graphic design that's on the other cards. But hey, if you're the kind of person who actually goes ahead and draws in your own things on those blank cards and uses them, let me know in the comments down below. Also, I'll know that you made it 25 minutes into the video, which is another little data point that's worth having. Anyways, and then you also get a poster. You get a poster. So it didn't really seem like it was really worth it to me, but hey, you know, your mileage may vary. That's going to be what you get for the Universe tier. Shipping over here is going to run you $16 to $20, depending on the pledge tier you're getting, and that is basically Space Off, a first-time creator, a party game, mini games in real life. Then we have Wild Gardens second printing plus Foraging Club expansion. 836 backers, $61,000 raised, 24 days to go. I'm realizing I did do a gameplay of this. I did a solo gameplay of the game, but I haven't actually reviewed this yet. So with 24 days to go, I probably should do that because I've already played it multiplayer and solo. I kind of wanted to play it more solo before reviewing it, which is why I held off, and I haven't done that yet. So maybe I'll play it solo, like, you know, the next week or so, and then try to get a review up before the campaign ends, because that would be nice, but also no guarantees, because I very often have that ambition, and then, especially with convention season, there's a lot of things I'm trying to do. We'll see what I am able to get done or not. But Wild Gardens from Rose Gauntlet Entertainment, very much enjoyed this. I definitely preferred it more solo. Spoiler to my review. I preferred it more solo than competitive. Competitive was fun, but solo was where the real charm lay as far as I was concerned. But overall, Wild Gardens is a foraging game. You're going to be wandering around this map over here, trying to be mindful of where your person lands, because you can forage from those areas. You're also trying to gather ingredients so you can prep these recipes, so you can feed those recipes to the various visitors. So you're trying to be mindful of these different layers of the gameplay as you try to take various actions and just move around the board and collect the right things and do all you need to do. There's a lot more going on to it, but the basic idea is move around, gather ingredients, get those recipes, and feed those recipes to the guests. That's the basic idea. The solo mode is much more nuanced as far as giving these kind of like different ways you go through it, or it changes up the gameplay experience, and also it feels more story driven as you go through it, while kind of being the same general experience, just different as you go through it. But that's basically Wild Gardens over here. They've created Keystone North America, which I think is fantastic. I really enjoy Wild Gardens. I prefer Keystone. Both are good games, but that is basically the general idea of the game. Oh yeah, this character, what do we have over here? We have the Foraging Club expansion is the new content over here, which gives you the unique character abilities and a new, faster way to play. The brand new Magic Tour Bus location board, which gives you a new game mode, offering a lighter, faster version while keeping it the same Wild Gardens charm. That's going to be what you get for these new Foraging Club expansion. Oh, and 4 new characters as well, in case you are interested in that. As far as shipping, oh, and the stretch goals, I believe they have like, oh, here we go. Stretch goals were more scenarios, more solo scenarios. Like, I think the base game only had 7 solo scenarios, so getting 2 more solo scenarios is certainly not something that I would mind at all. Then we have over here shipping and taxes is going to run you around $18 for the base game, all the way up to $24 for the Gamers Bundle, and that is Wild Gardens from Keystone, from Rose Gauntlet Entertainment. And then lastly, Lastly, we have Halflings Best Chef, 428 backers, 24 days to go, $50,000 raised. This coming to you from Game vs. Tech, first time created, or two created, second time created. Halflings Best Chef is basically a dice placement game. You're going to be rolling dice as you assign them to various locations, trying to gather various ingredients or get various upgrades, get any number of different things, get various wines to pair with your recipes, and then ultimately to also try to craft and serve those recipes to your guests. Across a whole bunch of rounds of play, 12 rounds if I'm not mistaken, you're going to be rolling those dice, assigning them, trying to one-up your opponent as you try to get everything, but you can't get everything, and you're trying to balance it all as you place those dice. And you can even unlock more dice as you go. Depending on which cards you get, you can unlock more dice in the game. So you're rolling dice simultaneously, placing them in turn order, resolving them in sequence, and then passing the turn counter, rinse and repeat until the game is over. Very charming, fast-paced, roll dice, place dice, feed people, so kind of like Wild Gardens in the general arc of it, but very different as far as the actual mechanical limitations, but that same general note of getting ingredients, crafting things, and serving guests. That vibe is definitely there. The pledge levels over here are going to be the base game for $56 for the standard edition. The standard edition plus expansion is going to be $97, giving you the extra 2 expansions over here. And then we have the Hot Cuisine edition for $113. This is the deluxe version of the game. And then we have the additional expansions for $154, and the Chef at Paramount for $284. That's going to allow you to have your own recipe crafted and put into the game. So that's like one of those more premium pledges, like, you know, the adding something of your own to the game, but they're all gone. So even if you wanted it, you can't get that anyway. There are 10 people. In theory, at some point, someone could just drop out and there'll be a spot open, but as of right now, they are currently all gone. Shipping for the game is somewhere down here. Where's shipping? Shipping's over here. Oh, that's right, because they have the whole page in French as well as English. I forgot about that. But yeah, shipping over here. They have shipping. Where was it? There we go. Here's the table. US is going to be 22 for the base box and all in for 33, and that is Halfling's Best Chef. And that's basically it. That is everything, which brings to our Picks of the Week. Picks of the Week is a segment where I'm going to tell you the game I think is the best value pick of the week, the one that's most likely to hold its value, as well as my personal interest pick of the week. And this is tough because this time they definitely do align, because so I'd give both to Inish Big Box in theory, because I do think the price point of what you're getting over here seems very reasonable for having a base game and 2 expansions. This is the kind of thing which is usually drastically overpriced on crowdfunding and then a little cheaper in retail down the road, but it does seem like a very reasonable price point on it. But it also is my personal interest pick of the week, so it's going to get my personal interest pick of the week for sure, because it's the Inish, expansion and all that. And don't get me wrong, the expansion I was a little mixed on, but nonetheless, it's expansion content to Inish, and I do think one of the expansion modules I would always play with, so it's an easy pick of the week even with all that. But outside of that, as far as the value pick of the week, if I'm not picking Inish Big Box, I would go with Tomb Raider. It does feel like there's a decent amount of content you're getting over here for a very reasonable price point, especially considering the IP. So overall, again, I would give it to Inish, but I try to split up my value pick and my personal interest, and since it definitely gets my personal interest pick of the week for Inish, I'm going to give my value pick of the week to Tomb Raider, the Crypt of Chronos from Iconic Studios. And that's basically it, which brings us to our upcoming campaigns. Next week we have a Syria 2nd edition coming to you from Shem Phillips, which will be launching very shortly in case you're interested in this one, and we just have one campaign, because I'm going to be doing this again on Wednesday, and I'll do the upcoming Kickstarter campaign on this week's video, I'll do the upcoming GameFound campaign on Wednesday's video, so I'm splitting it up a little bit just to keep things completely chaotic and crazy. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back Wednesday with more 2 Back and Not to Back, and until next time, I hope you have a good one. I told my son this week that I was named after Thomas Jefferson. And he's like, but your name's Alex. And I was like, yeah, I was named after Thomas Jefferson.